Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. So today it's actually going to be a really just quick walkthrough because I do have some plants that have just started blooming since the last walkthrough. So here is the crystal blue salvia. It is most gorgeous at this time of the year. So this, I think, just started blooming. So you can kind of see that the flowers haven't opened all the way up the stalk yet. So looking at the crystal blue salvia right now, you can kind of see that some of the blooms open, but you still have tons of little flowers here that have not opened yet, especially some of the smaller flowers on the side like that. So by another week, I think it will be most beautiful. So the boomerang lilac, it is a reblooming variety, and it was looking most beautiful, I would say, a week ago, for about a week and a half ago. But right now you can kind of see that the flowers have faded or starting to fade, and I actually have many stems that are sort of leaning, flopping over and actually hitting the bulb. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of pruning pretty soon. So here's the Crimson Queen Japanese maple, and I don't know if you remember, but it was looking most beautiful, I think, last week with that bright crimson red. But I think with the temperature that we've been getting, the warm temperature we've been getting lately, it has really darkened up the foliage quite a bit. So, and this is unusual because of the extra heat, the early heat that we've been getting lately. And here is my early bird white frosty Dianthus. It's starting to bloom right now, so I think that's really beautiful. I love the fact that the blooms are actually double, so really beautiful. And while we're here, I thought I mentioned this is my alyssum that I planted. And the last couple days, I noticed something has been eating it. Now, I'm not sure what it is, but all of the foliage actually died back completely. And it's just starting to put out some new foliage. And it's just not that one. Look at this one too. So something's been eating at it. So I wonder if it's a rabbit or anything. I'm not sure what it is, but all of them are like that. Even this one as well. So I'm not sure what's going on. But I don't recall having, insects or anything eating on my alyssum in the past, so not sure what's going on this year. But it looks like the last couple days the alyssum blooms have, I think there's lots of buds on here, so it looks like they're starting to rebound from whatever that was eating it. And talking about early, look at this. These panicles on my quickfire stander are on fire. Look at them. They're actually going to bloom very soon. So the quickfire standard, I don't know if you can see, but if you come really close, you actually see that there are tons of damage on the foliage of the quickfire because we actually had that big hail thunderstorm last week, and the leaves on the foliage on the quickfire actually got battered. So it's not looking all that great. Look at this. You got holes. We got lots and lots of damage on many of the leaf of the canopy, but luckily only a few of the stems broke off. The majority of the blooms are still intact. It's just that the foliage looks really bad, but like I said, once it starts to flower, I probably won't even notice the damage on the foliage, right? So hopefully that's gonna look okay. And here's this beautiful iris that I had last week. Look, the blooms are starting to fade. There's still some color on them, so but you can kind of see, look at the glowing effect of the crystal blue salvia here. I think this is most beautiful. So looking at the crystal blue salvia on this side of the bed, you can kind of see how much ahead or far ahead it is compared to those on the other side of the bed, even though both sides of the garden faces the south direction. So they both pretty much get the same amount of sunlight. And just yesterday, you know what I noticed? I don't know if you can see, but there's a hole right through the middle of that bobo bush. And I actually found many broken stems here. And so I had to cut everything way back But then right through there, you can kind of see that it actually broke away many of the stems of my onyx and pearl penstemon as well. But while we're on the topic of penstemon, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It's starting to bloom very soon. So I think it's just really a beautiful sight. I love the foliage effect of the penstemon against the bulb. I think that looks really beautiful. So as I was saying, something went straight through this bulb here. Underneath this penstemon, broke many stems off and went straight to the bottom of the clematis here and started eating away at the base right there. And so this is what you see, that what's left of the top here on this obelisk. So I'm just waiting until some of the flowers that are left until they finish blooming, and then I think I'm going to cut everything all the way back to the ground and let the whole entire plant flush all the way back up again. So anyway, so while we're here, I thought we enjoy this beautiful, Chelsea clematis bloom right now. I think that's really beautiful. I still have a few more that look like they are going to open very soon. So looking at these two now side by side, can you see what I was trying to go for? I think I really love this sort of crystal blue color of the two of them combined together side by side. I think that's most beautiful. But unfortunately, due to the damage on my Chelsea, I'm unable to see them blooming together. So that's unfortunate. So looking at the garden across from here, I think this is really, really pretty. And I'm actually loving the glowing effect that the sun has on these blue crystal salvia blooms. And even the foliage of this onyx and pearl penstemon is actually glowing as well. So really beautiful. So I'm in the back garden right now. So I'm going to actually just walk right up to you to show you this beautiful thing that's sort of breathtaking to me right now. So here are the two most beautiful Columbine plants that I have ever seen, or I guess blooms or flowers that I've ever seen. I think I have two varieties in here, and this one, I think it is the winky variety. I think it's winky pink variety. And then I also have one here, I think it's called the double take, or it could be another variety called Barlow. So they're just so beautiful, and I think just the way that the petals form and just, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I think they're most gorgeous right now. And one of the interesting things about these columbines is that I actually don't know where the seeds came from. They, I think, sell so because I have never seen this variety in the garden before. So it could be, all the cross breeding between all the different columbine varieties that I've grown in the past 6 years. And like I said before, I've started with just two varieties. And since then, I've had the opportunity to see so many varieties and so many different color blooms. So really, I think what makes it so interesting is that the mystery of where the seeds come from, right? So anyhow, so here's another good news from the garden. That's the Happy Return Daylilies, and these are, look, bloom stalks. So I am very excited for their, buttery yellow color blooms. And these are also reblooming, which is also one of the reasons why I like these. And right behind my iris, you can see my Sarah Elizabeth Clematis. It's blooming. So this Sarah Elizabeth Clematis is in its second year in the garden. I planted it, I think, fall 2 years ago. So last year was its first year, but this year you can kind of see it's grown so much, and it's double in size, I think. And you can kind of see that the blooms just started to open up. So you can kind of see that the petals haven't even fully flattened out yet. But I love that sort of blush, light color pink with the dark purple, almost pinkish purple center. I think that looks really pretty. So because the Sarah Elizabeth is only in its second year, so it is still trying to get rooted in. And so right now, I think it will continue to get rooted in. But by next year, when it's in its third year in the garden, I do expect it to start to leap up this trellis all the way to the top. Because it's hard to see right now, but I think it's about, I would say 2.5 feet tall now, but this is supposed to be about 4 to 5 feet tall. So I'm hoping that by next year it will start to leap all the way up and fill its entire space up. So can't wait for that to happen. And from this angle, can you see the first bloom of the David Austin rose in this garden for this year? So the first rose to bloom in 223, and this is the Rosemary. It's a David Austin rose. I love the delicate petals of this rose, and also the scent. I think that's really pretty too. So this is just one plant, but you can see that I have tons of buds on the rose right now. So I can't wait to see it open fully. And as we come closer to the hydrangeas here, this is the firelight that you're looking at. You can see that the same storm that we had with the hail and the thunderstorm damaged lots and lots of foliage on here. You can kind of see lots of damage over there. See, tons everywhere. I think it also damaged a lot of the foliage on my serrano lilies as well. And look, if you look closely, you can kind of see the damage there, but the buds are starting to form. So I'm so glad that the storm did not get to the plants while they were blooming, because that would have taken all of the blooms out. So really, really thankful for that. So right behind the serrano lilies, you can see that's my Giselle Clematis. So the Clematis, I think, started to open last week, but you can kind of see that the petals have now fully opened. And I love that star shape of the blooms on the Giselle. So beautiful. And here's a closer up of the Clematis. It's got that sort of hint of, purple pink. I think that looks really pretty. And I actually have many more buds that are still waiting to open up. So it's going to be a beautiful show in the next few days. I also still have this variety of Columbine still in full bloom as well. So beautiful color. I love that pale pink. It's got a darker hint on the back of the flowers. And here's another beautiful variety as well that I think it's a rare one. It's got that sort of burgundy color, purple burgundy with the yellow center. I think that's really pretty as well. And more of that deep blue sensation salvia that I've got in front of the three Luxury Angel David Austin roses there as well. Really pretty. And for those of you that are looking for companion plants to plant with your roses, I would definitely recommend planting some salvia, especially the taller varieties like the one that I have here, because the roses tend to be really tall, and so you want a salvia that kind of grows to about 2 to 3 feet. That way, as soon as the salvia blooms come, they will be able to kind of bloom together with the roses. I think that, to me, that combination of roses and salvia, I think they do so well together. And the roses, you can see, are also starting to bloom as well. I have tons of buds in here, and many of them are about to open very soon. And it looks like these roses are not too far behind the rosemary, because you can kind of see this one probably will be opening in another day or so. And here's this trellis with the Wester Platy and Pilu Clematis. And in the same storm that we had last week, half of these vines on this trellis actually fell over from the high wind and hail. So I couldn't come out to rescue it. But as soon as the storm ended, I did come back out and I tried to lift up all of the vine and clip them back onto the trellis. So you can kind of see there are some dead vines in here. It's hard to see with all the fresh foliage at the front. But in the back, in the next day or two, you might notice that there's going to be some dead, vines and leaves showing through, like with the one that I had at the front of the garden. But regardless, I'm hoping that they will be okay, because this is a beautiful thing and I love it. It usually blooms for me at the end of June, so can't wait to see it bloom. But so far I can kind of see some of the vines aren't looking that great. And some of my peonies are blooming. Look at that beautiful color, that pale pink center with the little, darker pink on the outside. I think that looks really pretty too. And here's another favorite of mine at this time of the year. This is the Capagemus nepeta, and you can kind of see the storm also damaged the bloom stalks as well. You can kind of see that it's lost many of the blooms that faces the sun because of all the heavy rain and hail that was falling on it at the time. And here is another showstopper in the garden right now. This is the Sonic Bloom Weigela in the Pro color. And I'm loving this because look, it's covered in blooms on every single stalk. There's tons and tons of buds everywhere. So really, really beautiful sight at this time of the year. So here's another close-up of the winky double Columbine blooms that I had. It was beautiful last week, but I think there are still some beautiful blooms left on there as well. Really pretty. So that pretty much concludes today's video. I want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you all next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now.